Da, 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 da. Dee, 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 dee. Yep, I'm here backstage, haha, with Vitelle. Hi, Vitelle.
Woo!
You
Hey!
think we should let them see us? I don't know.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Alrighty, we go and hide that away then. Hey, 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 y'all. Cindy Lou of the Be Bold You, Becoming Bold You podcast. I'm so excited to be sharing with you my guest from today, who is an actor, a poet, an entertainer, and something else. And I don't remember what it was.
A lot of it. Oh my gosh, you sound like me when I do it. That's pretty much how I do it. Like actress, model, host, entertainer. I do all those things.
And you do. You're like multifaceted. I checked out your website. It's amazing. Okay, so for those who are listening, this is Cindy Lou. I'm the creator and founder of the Be Bold You personality expression system. And I have a whole book about it, which is Becoming Bold You, helps you to see the perspective from which I look at our personalities and how we show up in the world, and that we get to choose who we become. That's that. We'll set that aside. I want to say welcome to my guest, Vitelle. I met her on Clubhouse, has been a wealth of friendships and community that has been forming over there. And I was so excited and so touched by her story that I wanted to share it with you, the listener. So Vitelle, please introduce yourself a little bit more.
Yes, so thank you so much for having me. First of all, yes, Clubhouse has been amazing, especially throughout this pandemic. So grateful for all the connections that I've made. So, as I mentioned, I'm an actress, model, host, entertainer. I've done a multitude of film and television work, as well as stage productions. I'm the writer and director of a show called The Face of Homeless. I'm also a newly published author of the book called I Am, a Poetic Ensemble that is there. And yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I'm a mother, I'm an activist in the community. I really just don't even limit myself. I'm trying to come up with a word because entrepreneur just doesn't cut it for me. Jane of all trades, whatever you want to call it, I need to come up with a very unique word that just covers all of it. But until then, I'll just list a little bit for y'all.
Multifaceted entrepreneur.
There we go. That works.
Actually, I am now calling myself, and you could probably use this one too. I'm calling myself a super creative because
Super creative. I love it.
it's really what we do. Like we're constantly
Yes.
creating, constantly thinking of new things to do, whether it's writing or drawing or singing or doing podcasts.
Exactly. There's no limit to it. Whatever comes up, it's like, hey, I want to do that. So I'm just living life. That's how we all should be living. Whatever comes in your heart to do, just do it.
Yeah. Live life, embrace it, do it. I love it. So I have these 10 questions that I ask everybody, and I've been doing them at the start of the show lately, and it seems to be working quite well. You can answer these quick or slow, and you can expound or not. It's totally up to you.
Okay.
What is your favorite color?
This color that I'm wearing right now, actually, coral.
Coral.
Wear at the moment, yes.
It's a beautiful color. Are you more introverted or extroverted?
Believe it or not, even though I'm in the entertainment industry, I'm very introverted. I am extroverted when I have to turn it on for the camera. Yeah, that's me.
Did you know most of the people in the entertainment business, it seems to be that truth?
I've been learning that lately. Clubhouse is what revealed that because everybody, the pandemic happened. It's like everybody just embraced it. Like, yay, I get to be by myself and then I can still kind of entertain behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've learned that a lot lately. It's strange. I thought I was alone in that.
Nope. What quote or phrase encourages you the most?
The most? That's a tough one. I have so many of them. I guess the first one that came to my mind, I'll just say it, is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, which obviously I do all things. So here I am.
That's right. When that script got written, we were in his mind.
Yes,
all
exactly.
things.
Here I am.
Although people are like, how do you learn all this? I'm like, I don't know. I just do.
Right. It's like I know my strength comes from elsewhere because I'm doing it all and I don't know how sometimes.
What energizes you?
Oh gosh. My kids, I guess. They keep me energized and keep me going, keep me feeling young. I'm constantly having to keep up with them. So I'll say my kids for that one.
And they are fun to keep up with. You enjoy every minute because one day it really does happen when they all move out.
I know, right?
What has been your favorite age?
My favorite age in my life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to say now. I've never been asked that question before. I would say now. I'm definitely, I know more now than I knew before. I'm learning more every day. And so I guess every age and every life experience has taught me more and more. So where I'm at right now is probably my favorite age, I think. Yeah.
Yay. Are you more of a book reader or a song
Listener. Yeah, song listener, definitely. Definitely.
listener? Give
Yeah.
us one song that will encourage somebody.
Oh gosh, you know what? I'm a huge NF fan right now. I can't even just pick one song. NF is speaking the story of my life. He raps about his trials and tribulations, same as I write about in my books and everything. So I love all his music at this moment.
So after the interview, I want you to come back and in the comments, put at least one link to a YouTube video so we can watch him. You
Okay,
can
cool.
experience what you like.
Yes.
What is the most exotic place you've ever been?
Oh, well, surprisingly, I haven't been to many places. Florida is honestly probably the most exotic. Miami. I haven't really been outside of the United States yet, but it's coming. I'm working. I'm actually planning some trips now, so I'm going to be going to some more exotic places soon, and I'll get back to you on that one. For now, I'll say Miami.
Miami's pretty exotic.
Yeah.
Do you create to live or live to create?
That is a strange question. Huh? That one makes me think. You got some big questions here. I live to create. I'll say that one. Yeah.
All righty. And who has been the greatest influence on your life? They can be dead or alive.
Jesus, who is very much alive. Yeah, I've got to say that because I mean, there's people here on this earth that I take things from and I say, okay, I want to do that like that, or I don't want to do that. And that's the example of what I don't want to be. But overall, the best example is Jesus. That's who I'm trying to be most like because a lot of us are having a difficult time getting there. And I like to set the bar high and aim high. And so that's what I'm aiming for every day. So that's my number one hero right there, her greatest influence.
I love that. And I love that you brought up the whole point of that's what I don't want to do. And we don't think about that kind of an influence in our lives.
I probably have more influences like that. And that's why when it comes to a positive role model, I have to say Jesus, because most of my influences are like, yeah, I'm going to not do that. Yeah.
I love it. And you don't want to mention their names because
right, no.
Nope.
Just go Jesus. Jesus for
What?
the win.
Jesus for the win. What one word describes you best?
Boy, one word. Ooh, I gotta narrow it down, huh?
Yep.
Superwoman. Does that work?
Superwoman. I love it.
One word.
That's amazing.
Word. I'm sticking to it.
We all need a superwoman in our lives.
That's a good one. Versatile. That works too.
Versatile Vitelle. I like that. That works.
I like it.
Alrighty, so here's the one question, right? That I ask all of my guests. Well, if I could only ask you one question, what would it be? And what drives you to do all that you do?
So the feedback that I get from people while I'm doing everything that I do is really what keeps me going and keeps driving me. Obviously my kids are what drive me on a daily basis all the time. But when I get feedback from people saying that, hey, what you are doing or what you said inspired me, or in some cases it's as severe as, gave me reason to live, that's what drives me every day to keep going and to keep at it no matter how difficult it gets. I have to keep going because I feel like so many lives depend on it, and it's not just about me anymore. Obviously when I became a mom, it wasn't just about me anymore. And now, the larger my fan base gets, the more, it's not just about me, it's about all of them. So the people drive me to keep doing what I do.
I love that. And so I was reading through your story,
Mhm.
and I saw this whole thing here, this part of your story, and I thought, oh, how interesting.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your own experience living in a car, and how were you helping others while you were doing that? Like, that just blew my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually a page turner right there. So basically, I started off helping the homeless years ago. And initially, it was just a matter of curiosity. It was like, I'm seeing homeless people on the streets like we all do. And I'm just, genuinely concerned for other people. And I wanted to find out, why are they in that situation? What's their story? And so one day I actually pulled over and started talking to a guy named Gary, who I'd seen out homeless all the time. Found out that he was a veteran, that he'd fought for our country, and he's out here on the streets, that his children had disowned him. Just had a really good talk with him, that he was just a normal guy that just ended up in this situation and now can't get any help for one reason or another. So that sparked my curiosity some years ago. And so from there, I started actually the Feed the Homeless tour, which we would provide food, clothing, shelter. It was just a matter of finding out what people needed and how to connect them to the sources to get these things. And, even in some cases, taking up donations and getting them out to the people. When I first moved to Atlanta, we were going out feeding the homeless every single Monday. So once a week, we'd go out on a consistent basis, and then periodically in between when we could. So it wasn't even until I got to Atlanta, after I'd been doing this for a while, that I ended up homeless myself. So at the time I was married, had 2 kids. They were, I want to say, about 2 and 3-ish, around that age, those ages. And so, yeah, we ended up homeless, living in our car, got evicted from a couple of different apartments. My homeless journey is a long one. There's a whole book just about that that's coming soon. But it's called The Homeless System, because when I went through that journey, I found out that there's a lot of places that I thought were helping and that I even used to contribute to or volunteer at, or however I could help, that really couldn't help me. Being a homeless mother who was married, I couldn't get any help in this country. It's so crazy because, like, you either have to be a single mom, which, in some cases, in order to get any help or assistance, I would have to lie and say that I wasn't married. Like, it was just so many, so much red tape that you had to cut through to even get help. It's like, you can't just be a regular person who's down on their luck, which a lot of people, that's the situation. You either had to be a drug addict, you had to be an alcoholic, or whatever, things that I didn't qualify for. So I found out in going through that the system is really jacked up. And so I call it the homeless system. It's definitely a huge moneymaker for our country, sadly. And so, yeah, like I said, my book will talk more in detail about that. But yeah, that's what I went through, and it just drove me to go even harder for the homeless, just knowing that firsthand. And now I'm able to look back on that and say, hey, I'm thankful for that experience, because had I not gone through that, I wouldn't really know firsthand. I was already helping the homeless, but it just made me even more passionate and made me even more knowledgeable about what's going on in this industry and how I can really help and how I can get others to help. So yeah, that's the short version.
The short version. And probably the stage play, The Face of the Homeless, will they see more of it in there? Is that a part of your book, or is that?
It is, they kind of play off of each other. So The Face of Homeless came out because I was actually homeless when I wrote The Face of Homeless, and when I first produced and directed it the very first time it went live. It's gone on stage 13 times now throughout Atlanta, or throughout the state of Georgia. And so when I first did it, I was homeless at that time. And my main purpose was to say, you don't know what homeless looks like. You know, when we think about what's homeless or who is homeless, you have this version that comes to mind of this, you know, grungy old man standing with a sign or whatever. And it's like, you don't see this face, right? Like, is this the face that you picture when you picture homelessness? So the reason it's called The Face of Homeless instead of The Face of Homelessness is that I wanted to portray homeless as a person, or, you know, not just, you know, a description of someone, if that makes sense. And so I wanted to show that this is what homeless looks like right here, you know, and to help people to not assume and to just break the stigma, I guess. And it worked. The very first time I did it, even my cast didn't know that I was homeless. We were actually rehearsing in an office that I'd opened up, and we were staying in the office sometimes. Sometimes we'd stay in the car. Sometimes we'd sneak into the office. Like, we were actually in the middle of being homeless. And it wasn't until the night before the show, when we were doing rehearsal, that it just came over me. I was like, I've got to tell them, like, this is the moment. This is, you know, I was just waiting for the right moment. And so just before showtime, I told the whole cast that this is the situation. And it, you know, the reality hit them, like, this is what I'm trying to teach with this show, is that you don't know, and you have to be able to be observant, you know, and pay attention to the signs, and just being, you know, in tune with each other in this world, which, you know, obviously we're less in tune now because of a pandemic, but, you know, just being aware of other people and what they're going through. Like, someone, had they been really paying attention to the message in the show, would have noticed this prior to me telling them. But it was like, just, I let them know, and it wasn't a dry eye in the building. It was just, everyone broke down and everyone gave the greatest performance of their lives, because it was like, this is real, you know. This is really real.
It was right before showtime?
Yeah,
it was right
before showtime that I let them know. Yeah, I was like, so guess what, guys? By the way, the place that we're rehearsing at, you know, and I just told them, and they just could not believe it. Like, I mean, just because we built a relationship and become a family by that point. And it's like, you were homeless this whole time. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, with this show, you don't know who's homeless. So it portrays a lot of different variations of homelessness, from the typical homeless man on the street with the sign, to the teenager that's gotten put out of her house and now is having to sleep on couches or whatever. Like, there's so many different versions of homelessness. I have 3 of them already written. The first one, the first Face of Homeless, has already been performed 13 times. So I have 2 more coming that have already been written, The Face of Homeless 2 and Face of Homeless 3. So each one of them has at least 5 different versions of homelessness in each one. So yeah,
Wow.
That's a lot. Really makes you think.
Amazing. That's amazing. What has been the response of the audiences that have come to those?
Oh my gosh, I love the feedback that I get when I do this show. And by the way, it's probably going to come to Atlanta again in August, is what my around the fall time, I'll say, that is the goal that's being discussed right now. But the audience is always giving so much feedback. Like, everyone in the audience is going to find someone they relate to in the show, whether they've been homeless themselves in some shape, form, or fashion and don't even realize it, or they may be the Peggy Sue, as we call her. Shout out to Becky Taylor, who plays Peggy Sue in every one of the shows that I've done. She is the antagonist. She doesn't recognize that, you know, her own housekeeper is homeless. She doesn't recognize that her own daughter is homeless. Like, she's surrounded, you know, one of her coworkers ends up homeless. Like, she's surrounded by homelessness, and is just so stuck in her world of, you know, I worked hard for this. I've got this, I've got that. And she doesn't, recognize or relate to homelessness, so she just doesn't get it. And so that, unfortunately, most of my audience relates more to her character than anything, and it's just an eye opener for them, and it's a blessing to me to see how, to see people admit I related to Peggy Sue. Like, oh my gosh, bless your heart. It's like that people will admit that, like, this was me, and I feel awful because she's an exaggerated version of what they really felt towards homelessness. Like, roll up the window when you see them on the side of the road, kind of thing. And yeah, all the assumptions and things that Peggy Sue goes through, most people end up relating to her. So yeah, but it's just amazing to hear the feedback and just to see who people relate to in the show, because everybody's going to have something. And I love that. Also, my other favorite part is that men love the show. So one of the things with my stage play is I'm not a huge fan of musicals and a song's going to start up every 5 seconds, and just the typical, you can kind of predict what's going to happen thing. Mine is very much like a movie on stage where there's action, there's guns going off, somebody could come from behind you, you don't even know what's going to happen, and just the excitement of being live and in person, but being engrossed in the whole entire experience. I love doing my plays that way, because that's how I'd prefer to watch a play. And so the men who come, who are thinking, oh, I'm just going to a show that my wife probably dragged me to or something, they come and they're in the audience crying. It's like, pass the tissue over to that guy over there, like, the men cry, they get into it, like, everybody's into it. There's nobody in the audience like, oh, this is boring, I'm just gonna talk about scroll through Instagram or something, like, it's everybody's into it every time. So that's really exciting to see too.
I think when we're faced with the reality of all that we've walked by every day,
mm-hmm.
and we're now having it reflected back to us,
right,
and our thoughts played out before us,
right,
we have no choice but to say, oh,
yeah,
crap.
Yeah, see yourself. Yeah. It's like holding up a mirror.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that, and how exciting.
Thank you.
So you directed, or did you get a director?
Wrote it and directed it. The first time I had someone play the role that's supposed to be my character and my experience, that's kind of interjected in between the various stories. And that was just because it was so fresh, obviously it was going on right then, right now, and I didn't feel like emotionally I could handle it along with directing and everything else for the first time. But after the first time,
and being homeless.
Yeah, and being homeless and actually, living this, it was just a lot. So I didn't put that mental anguish on myself. I had someone else play the role of me. Shout out to Dimples Potter. So she played that role the first time, and I think by the second time, I don't remember if something came up or she was sick or what it was, but I ended up having to step in and play the role the second time. So by the time we did the show with me playing it, then it was one of those things like everybody saying, okay, you have to play this role from now on. No one else can play this role, because I know, myself, so I played myself in it. And that was very difficult because here I am now. I wrote it, I'm directing it, I'm playing the lead role, and I'm still trying to direct backstage. So obviously with that, I have an assistant director that kind of takes over at showtime, and then I kind of direct through rehearsals and everything. So by the time we get to showtime, we all know what to expect and what to do, and I don't have to do too much directing, and I can just stay in character and get lost in it for a moment. And then as soon as it's over, pull myself right back out. And it helps that I'm no longer homeless. So I'm able to play that role now. And I've been doing it ever since. So I'm going to keep doing it till I'm too old to play myself at that age, I guess. And then at that point, I'll hire a new me and keep going.
Auditions for me.
Yes, who would like to play me? And actually, I've already got a few people in mind that are way younger than me. So I'm like, yeah, that's who's going to play me when I can no longer play myself.
And they'll be old enough by then to actually play me.
Exactly. I've got a few of them that I'm keeping an eye on.
Well, the next thing we want to talk about is the book that you do already have out, that you put out last year.
Yes, ma'am.
So if people want to get a taste of it, there it is. She's holding it in her hand.
Yeah, I've always been with me. Yeah, you just
So
never
I didn't ask
know.
you this.
Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
didn't ask you. Yep, 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 yep.
It's like a delay or something. So
There is. There
technology.
is. I didn't ask you this, but is there a poem in there that you could do?
I can, yeah. That's actually what I was about to say. I was about to say that I always kind of keep it with me just in case I need to pull one out of somewhere real quick. So, and I usually base it on, the mood, the audience, what we're talking about. I know I have one in here. So I'm trying to kind of gauge what I want to share with you guys because we've kind of covered a lot of different topics of me. So, and this book, just so y'all know, so it is a memoir and story of my life, but it's written in poetry format. So again, it's one of those things kind of like my play, like I'm not a big reader, but I'm writing a book. So for those of you who don't really like to read, this one's going to flow really smoothly because it's written in poetry format. And it's also created to be able to perform live. So it's like monologues too. So each one of these as I'm flipping through here, trying to decide which one to do, is actually a monologue. So it talks about just my various experiences from my mental health and the things I went through because I've been through a lot of different traumas. So I've experienced suicidal thoughts and depression and all of those things as I'm going through my life's trials and ups and downs. Aside from the homelessness, I have just been through it. I've just now gotten comfortable through therapy, being able to say straight out that I was actually kidnapped and sex trafficked. Like that's
Wow.
just something that I never even like considered it that, I guess, because it's just a unique situation. But I've had to go through therapy to even understand, like, okay, that's what that was. I wasn't the typical kidnap, like bag over the head, tied up, drug out of the house kind of thing. It was more of a manipulative, orchestrated.
Coercion.
Yeah, it's a whole movie. It's coming, y'all. I promise. I'm working on it, but so I've been through a lot, needless to say, and so this book just kind of sums that all up. It's kind of a sampler platter of some of those situations, and basically each one of the poems in this book is going to be a movie and a stage play in itself. Eventually, so all that's being worked on. It's so hard as a creative. I know to like not be able to put everything out there at one time. It's like I gotta a little bit at a time continuously work on it. But I'm working on it as fast as I can. It's a lot. So I'm gonna share with you guys a poem
I'm gonna
called
put you
uh-huh.
solo so you've got this to use
Oh,
later.
okay, perfect. So this is called Unloved. And this is one that's kind of based on from my childhood here. So unloved. It's an emotion not included or considered a form of depression, but I'm telling you it is. I know because I've experienced it my entire life since I was a little kid. It started off as wonder. I wonder why everyone hates me for no reason. I wonder what I did. I soon realized that being born was my first mistake. Regularly reminded that she really wanted to end my life before it started, I'm told I should have been aborted. Born into a family that I didn't resemble. Most of the time, I forgot I needed to blend in, but I stood out like a sore thumb, a chameleon of personalities, but I couldn't change my skin. So I studied what made them happy, made them laugh and love me good. A temporary solution. I knew they never did. I knew they never could. So I learned to hate what the mirror reflected. Always rejected, never accepted. 1 minute, I'm the lightest in the dark. Next, the darkest in the light. No matter where home was for now, I was always reminded that my skin wasn't right. And as if my miscalculated casing wasn't enough, I was then gifted with emotions and told I had too much. Did you take your medicine today? was what she would ask. If my laugh was too happy or my cry was too sad. So I learned not to feel, or at least to pretend. Still unable to change what's on the outside, I mastered holding things within. Conceal, don't feel. Put on a show. I could put it in a movie and they still would never know the amount of trauma, the extent of pain I carried into adulthood along with the blame. And at the first sign of rejection to my human responsiveness, I'm consumed with the reminder that feelings are bad. What's wrong with you? There you go again. So I retreat into my closet of self-loathing, trained for 3 decades to hate myself from the outside in. I'm told I'm supposed to love myself. But how? No one else ever did. And that's scene. I'm done.
I'm coming. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Like, are you speechless over there? Are you still with me, right? It's always that one because it's so like, deep. It just pulls you in and then you're like all emotional and sad. And then it's like, okay, I'm done. So see, I've perfected pulling myself in and out of those places.
And that's the thing, right? Like, authenticity is sharing the emotions that happened in that moment.
Yeah.
Without putting on an emotion for this moment.
Right. Makes sense to me.
Because I see people try to put on the emotion or that are sharing the story before it's something they can step in and out of.
Yeah. And I kind of did that, honestly. Like, in order to even write the book, I had to go through the process and be able to share it even with myself. So I've been sharing the different poems as I've been able to. And so I've pretty much got the whole book down now. Like sometimes it feels like someone else's life because I'm so kind of disconnected from it in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I know I haven't just swept it under the rug like I did in the past. Like I said, I've been going through therapy. At this point, I'm doing maintenance therapy. So, it's where you get to the point where you're like, oh, I don't feel like I need therapy anymore. I'm healed. I'm good. But it's like, I'm going to keep going so I can stay good. I know enough to know to do that. So, yeah, but just being able to help everybody through my testimonies has been the thing that's made me like want to face them head on and want to heal from all these things and want to keep going with it because it's helping too many people for me not to,
Yeah. Well, the thing is that we, what we've gone through really can help others. And we do need to share our stories. And that was why I connected with you, because you were sharing your story.
Absolutely.
And when I heard your story, I related way too much to your story.
That's awesome.
I had 5 children when we were homeless.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. We fortunately had a friend who let us stay with her for a little while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But it's like, even with that, like even with the different levels of homelessness, I've been in someone's basement, I've been in the car, there's all different levels to it, but it's not any less bad when you're experiencing it. It kind of drags out. Like months feel like years, weeks feel like months. It's just, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel and see when you're going to get out of it. Like it's pretty miserable. So yeah, you can definitely, when you've been through it yourself, you can relate in a different way than before when you just, had a heart for people like I did. Now it's like I still have a heart for people, but now it's just amplified because of what I've been through. So I totally get it.
Actually, I'm going to edit that. I only had 3.
Wait, 3 kids? You said you only had 3 kids. Oh, I think I froze. I think you froze up on me. Uh-oh. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but if we need to restart, or I'm sure that everything's closed out. I don't think it's my internet. Can you still hear me? Well, I think I'm still live and our host has been disconnected, so I'm sure she'll be joining us back here momentarily. If y'all can hear me, technology things happen. So if you're tuning in, thank you for doing so. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep talking then, I guess, until our host jumps back on. Hopefully she okay, yeah, she just messaged me. So she's trying to get back on. So yeah, so just I'll read another poem, I guess, while we're waiting for her to get back on. And meanwhile, if you guys haven't joined my fan page yet on Facebook, make sure you do that. Join my fan page on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/Vitelle fans. Make sure y'all join that. I'll type it into the chat, facebook.com/Vitelle fans. So you guys can join that page there, as well as my website. If you go to my website, vitelle.net, that's VITELLE.net, you will find all of my social media links and everything there is to know about me. You can find there. You can subscribe to my website, and that way you can keep in touch with me and see everything that's going on when I send out my email blast and know when my next shows will be available, as well as get coupons and links to tickets and sometimes free ticket giveaways. So make sure y'all subscribe to that. All right. So while we're waiting for her to jump back on, I'll just read another quick one. Let me see. So I read Unloved for you guys. Let's see. I will do. All right. I'm going to just do I Am, which is a poem that's the namesake of the book. So again, my book, I Am, a Poetic Ensemble. This poem is actually called I Am. And a lot of my poems I like to open up with Bible verses, because the Bible verses is what inspires me to write. So this one opens up with this verse. But Moses protested, "If I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them?" God replied to Moses, "I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you." And that is Exodus 3:13-14. I am afraid. I am unsure. I often worry, panic, and complain. I am completely justified in that at times. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a public figure. I have responsibilities in life. People depend on me to do what's right. I am expected to do great things because I Am has called my name. I am courageous. I am strong. I Am's been with me all along. I am determined, but I am tired. I am leaning on the one who sent me. I am trusting in his will. I am judged. I am criticized. I am burdened beyond comprehension. I Am understands. He's been there. I have no more excuses. I Am sent me. I have to go. I am winning. I am winning. I have won. And soon I Am will say, well done. And that's that piece. So that is my poem, I Am. It is the namesake of the book. It is what inspired me to go ahead and push through with the book. That poem in itself just summarizes the whole book. When I asked myself who I am, these are the words that came to mind. So few words, much emotion. Hopefully you guys can relate, and glad to have you back. Don't you just love technology? Oh no, I can't hear you now. I can see you, but I can't hear you.
I love technology. It's my favorite thing.
There you are. Hey, we're rolling with it.
I knew, I was like going, oh, she's got this. I was like, she'll be reading. I sent you a message to read a poem, but I'm like, she's already doing it, I'm sure.
Right. And surprisingly, it popped up on my computer screen, but that's where I was going to right before it did. So that was perfect. Improvisation at its finest, folks.
There you go.
Thank you, Sarah. I see comments now. Yay.
Yay. Here we go. Turn this off. Oh my goodness. So if people want to connect with you, this is where they can do it. They can read more about your book.
Yeah.
They can find all of that.
On the first homepage is links to all my social media. I'm on everything. So y'all follow me on whatever you're on, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, all these blah, blah, blah. I'm on all of them, as well as there's a subscribe link there too. So you can get my newsletter when it goes out. I don't send them out very often, but when there's something big going on, I always like to keep everybody in the loop. So, and of course doing giveaways sometimes too. So make sure you guys subscribe.
Giveaways is good. And if they want to connect with you on Facebook, since we're here on Facebook as one of the platforms where we live simulcast. So yes, it was live. You know it was live because I disappeared.
That's my favorite stuff to do is live. You never know what's going to happen. Just roll with it because you can't script it. You can't make it up. When people ask me ready for my interview, I'm like, I have to, like, you have to be born ready for interviews. Like you can't just rehearse or something.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work.
And it still happens.
Yeah. I think I would love to see you do a show like one that I have in my head to do for myself. And I'm going to tell you the show idea and see if you have fun doing it. Because everybody in the world could do this show. So what I want to do is write down 100 items of things that have happened to me in my life. Good, bad, sad, happy, joyful, whatever. And then as the first 10 to 12 people come in, or even up to 25 people come in, that they're going to pull it out of the hat. And that's the show for the night.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's interesting. That would be very challenging, but yeah, that's a great idea. Please keep me in the loop on that. I'd love to see that. That sounds awesome.
I'm thinking I could do one actually here on Facebook maybe, or maybe in the green room or something. I'm not sure where yet, but.
That'd be awesome. Definitely keep me posted on that. That sounds cool. I love unique, inspiring ideas.
Yeah. I thought about doing it in person, but I'm like, well, maybe I could do an audio version of that on Green Room to test it out.
Sure.
That could be fun. Just learning, practicing telling my stories. Come help me practice tell my stories.
Yeah. That's the
best
way to
do it. Been born.
I love it. And I'm sure we both have plenty of stories to tell.
Oh, and how. Yes. Well, we have come to over 40 minutes. Do you have any last things you'd like to say to anyone who's kind of watching, going through things, feeling like life is not working for them, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. I always have something to say, inspiring, because, life is going amazingly well for me right now, but I can never allow myself to forget when it wasn't, which was literally not that long ago. So I always keep it in the forefront of my mind to tell people that may be going through something right now, whatever it is, most of which I can relate to, but just remembering that these things are temporary, whether it's homelessness for you, suicide, depression, it may be something worse, maybe something not as bad, like whatever the case may be, there's really no comparison when you're going through something. It's detrimental for you at that time. So I just always encourage people to remember that storms don't last long. it's going to be over at some point. Sometimes it's just a matter of hanging on in there through it. Sometimes it's a matter of learning through it. What am I supposed to get from this? What am I supposed to learn and grow from through this situation or this storm? Sometimes it's just a matter of God's telling you need to sit down somewhere and rest, which is usually the case for me, like when I get sick and stuff. Just recognizing that we're going to have these life's ups and downs, no matter what they are. It's all a part of the journey. Just embrace it, enjoy it while it lasts, because it'll be over before you know it. And it's like giving birth. It's like you're going through all these labor pains, and then suddenly you have this baby and you practically forget all the pain you just went through, even though it just happened, because you're so overjoyed and amazed with the gift that came out of it. So that's the story of life, folks. Like, just embrace it, enjoy the process, take it all in, and live every moment to the fullest, and know that hard times don't last long, and just live for the future.
Thank you so much for being here. It has been fun and a joy to have you.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
when your next book is ready, please come back and we'll talk about that some more, and you can share a few stories out of that.
Absolutely, I sure will. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, for my listeners on the podcast, remember to always live your life out loud and be bold you.